Today we're going to dive into the Netflix phenomenon that is taking the preteen world by storm. Should you let your kids watch K-pop Demon Hunters? At this point, you probably already have, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my take as a Christian and as a father. And then we're going to end with a game where you have to guess what movie the critic is referring to. So get ready to write your answers down below. All that and more coming up. You remember back when, a couple weeks ago, Pixar started blaming everybody for not supporting original work because nobody went to see Elio and Stitch? Well, thanks to Netflix's K-pop Demon Hunters, that puts Pixar's complaint to rest because if anything is an original work, it is this film. And if anything should have been released at theaters this summer, also this film. But who made it? What's it about? What's going on? So Sony Pictures is an animation studio that not a lot of people were paying attention to. They were making movies such as Open Season, followed by a whole bunch of sequels and spin-offs, something I know nothing about. They also made a bunch of Smurfs movies. I believe they made last year's Chris Pratt's Garfield movie. Well, turns out that there was a method to their madness. Sony Pictures, it seems, were making those movies in order to pay the bills for the bigger movies down the pipeline. Those bigger movies being Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and now K-pop Demon Hunters. The Spider-Verse movies have gotten better with each release, and I absolutely adore The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Talk about a tough movie for a dad to get through without bawling like he just got sucker punched in the crotch in the middle of a blizzard. You know, when you look at how chaotic and messy and glorious and fun those movies are, for Sony Pictures to actually take the time to stop the movie for a good couple of minutes to allow audience members as well as characters on screen to feel deep emotions. And for a studio, for any movie studio these days, to do something as risky as that is gonna earn my respect. Now, about this K-pop Demon Hunters movie. This will be Sony Animation's fourth installment of their most ambitious releases. It's like these movies are actually made for real audiences that want to devour real good entertainment. So halfway through watching it on my own, I decided I was okay with letting my kids see it. So I started it over and we all watched it together. And my 10-year-old son, he thought it was perfectly fine. But my 11-year-old daughter, she is more obsessed with this thing than a tick is with the inside of a monkey's butthole. She didn't even love Frozen the way she loves this movie. She's probably going to have Golden playing at her wedding. Like, this movie is the world to her, and I think it's great. I didn't even know what K-pop was. I just thought it was, a name invented for the movie. It took me a couple of minutes to accept what I was seeing on screen. Before I knew it, I found myself liking this movie. But I had to ask my daughter, I said, hey, is it weird that your dad actually really likes K-pop Demon Hunters? She says, well, I still like Bluey. So I guess it's not that weird.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. Yeah, but I like Bluey too. But yeah, as a 40-something-year-old father, husband, Christian, I had no reason to like this movie. I had nobody to latch onto. I had no character to relate to. I love the gritty, the crime thrillers, the psychological torment, George Clooney old man movies, right?
Go ahead. Make my day.
But damn, if it just didn't hit. Because the whole theme about K-pop Demon Hunters, it's about dealing with grief and shame. I don't think those themes are explored enough in movies. This movie did it in such a chaotic and fun way. Yeah, it works. This movie was a combination of Bill and Ted Face the Music, Frozen, Van Helsing, a whole bunch of others. I've heard other people compare it to Powderpuff Girls, Josie and the Pussycats. These are things I know very little about. And this movie is meta in the sense that Hendrix, the girl band,
you uncultured swine,
are obsessed with pleasing and saving their audiences. And I feel like we get that same determination from the artists and storytellers in this movie. It's like they're looking out for us as the audience watching this movie in our homes, not in the theaters, unfortunately. But it's like they actually care what we think. And I haven't felt that level of care for the audience since last year's Deadpool and Wolverine, where sure, the story was completely bonkers and off the rails, but they focused on giving you every single thing you wanted to see. Thanks for letting me interrupt. I just wanted to take a minute to read some of the comments I got in my last video, what The Happening is really about. We have Ryan Mac 3134 says, calling out the comments, totally here for it. You know, so am I. That's why I'm still doing it. This one looks fun. We have Burke Jed says, wow, 543 views in only 2 days. Oh, this is really nice of him. He goes on, you definitely picked something that everyone wanted to see. You lost to me at better movie than you thought. Because no, it isn't. So I lost him at the very first line of the video. What if I told you that The Happening is actually a better movie than you thought?
Excuse me?
That went from, whoa, this is awesome, to a really dark place. All right, next up we have Black Hood Intel. Ooh, that should be spooky. All right, he says, okay, I believe you. Nice video. Don't get obsessed about YouTube comments though. You'll have a lot of them in the future, and half of them will be written by AI. So that explains Burke Jed. I can unload that burden from my heart, huh? Tuba Duder. Best name ever. It's a long comment. If you want to go read it, go read it. But I just love the name, Tuba Duder. All right, the last one I'll read is John Redbeard 5074. Okay, I like it. Loved the Bible verses explaining certain parts. Not out of your mind at all. Now that is not sarcasm, because in the video, I said, am I out of my mind? But what do you think? Am I way out of my mind, or am I actually onto something here? So that is a fair answer to a fair question. You got a sub from me, brother. All right. Extra tomato. Speaking of Patreon, and I'd like nothing more than to extend an invitation for you to donate to my channel so that I could keep bringing content like this to you. I know what you're thinking. I don't have the money in these hard economic times. I get that. I'm right there with you. But as I'm looking at you, eye to eye, I gotta say, maybe you should have splurged all that dough on that fancy shawl collar robe from Simple Pleasures. It doesn't look good on you. I'm sorry. It would look better on me. I'm just saying. Don't think I don't notice that crystal chandelier hanging from your $3,000 a month studio apartment. Seems to me you do have a little extra. Oh, this? This is not a real man cave. This is a fake setup. It's not as fancy as, hello. So be a dear and donate some money to somebody who can make a difference in my life. The link to my Patreon is down below or in my channel description. Thank you, and let's get back to the show. And what I love most about it is that there is no Mary Sue. You hear that, Disney? The girls in this movie, particularly the main character, Rumi, she is extremely vulnerable. She's flawed. She's got issues. But she also still comes out the hero at the end. Oh, and by the way, there's a male-female romance in this movie, too. We haven't seen that in ages, right? What I also really like is that they didn't borrow from another better franchise.
Let's go. Oh, did you? Sorry. I'll let you. Next time. Okay.
They're creating their own thing, which is what a lot of us have been trying to tell Hollywood to do. It's not that we don't want to see diversity in our films. We do. Look at me. I'm raving about this K-pop Demon Hunter movie. It's a culture that I know nothing about. It's all about females, and I am praising this film because it's its own thing. It's its own thing, and they did it well. And on top of that, it stars 3 females, yet it's still a gender-neutral story. It takes you back to Ripley, Kill Bill. I think these 3 K-pop girls they're gonna join the ranks right along with them because they're awesome. Now, I will say the first time I saw it, I was not really drawn into the music. I just kept going back to that, to Goofy in a Goofy movie, who said that Max's music is like monkeys in a zoo. I just kept thinking that. But then the more I listened to it, the more I was like, okay, my foot starts tapping. I snap if I knew how to. I was like, wow, this is actually really catchy. I'm liking this. Now, I will admit, not every song lands with me. That was never going to happen. But the majority of the songs really are, bangers, I guess is what the kids call them now. Bangers. It doesn't sound very appropriate. Admittedly, I haven't woken up in a couple of weeks without the songs going in my head. And honestly, I'm not complaining. The songs are great. My daughter, she can't shut up. In fact, she's on sort of a probation period. My wife said that she'll pay her some money if she can go 24 hours without singing any of those songs. And so far she's making it. I made her screw up earlier yesterday, but she's going to do a good job. But you can tell from the get-go what mattered to the filmmakers and the artists about this movie wasn't the female empowerment. It wasn't identity politics. It was nothing of the sort. All that mattered to them was the art, the style, and the love of the content that they were producing. The ambition and just the confidence that went into making this film. It treats its audience like actual intelligent human beings. So like at the beginning, before the title sequence, they're on the plane and they show like the stewardess and the pilots, they're smiling and they're serving them. And you know right away, after the information they've just given you, that these are demons. And so in a lesser film, they would have played it out for a much longer time. Oh, we're going to keep this a big old secret. But no, but just a couple seconds after seeing the flight crew, the girls are just nonchalantly like,
"You're a demon, right?"
And then they just start kicking ass, right? You do have to keep up. The film is not going to slow down to wait for you. You've got to stay locked in. It was just this fun, exhilarating Wild West ride into the unknown. I also really liked how halfway through, I just kept thinking to myself, there is no way this is going to end well. I could not find a loophole for there to be one big happy ending. By this time, you've seen it. If spoiler coming up, the fact that the main guy, Johnny, he dies at the end, that was great.
Sorry, what now?
How many times have you seen discourses online of people complaining about the fake death? That happened at the end of the movie. We're so tired of that. And it's like Sony Animation did away with that. They knew that going in. They're like, no, if we're going to pretend somebody's dead, we're going to actually have them die. There's going to be consequences at the end of this movie, just like there should be in any great movie, right? You can't have a victory over evil or over anything bad without there being a permanent consequence to add weight to that victory. And yeah, it's about saving the world and all that nonsense. Mitchell's versus the Machines was the same way. But just like with Mitchell's, this movie really was about the boots on the ground people. It was about the interpersonal stories. That's what's pulling you in. And then the world saving stuff, that's just an excuse to get crazy with the artwork and to add a bunch of laughs and to just see how far this medium can go. But what I like about this movie is that the two dynamics, they really complement each other. The writers know how to fit the personal stories in with the ridiculous world-saving stuff to make it a cohesive whole and a satisfying ride from beginning to end. Now, I will say, if you're like my wife and you need to have things quiet and you need to have your stories with as less conflict as possible, this isn't going to be for you. This is a very loud, bombastic movie. Is it edgy? Yeah, like my daughter, she's 11. I don't think I would have showed this to the kids if they were 7 or 8. I think 9 is a good cutoff point. It's edgy, but it's not offensive. And I do say it's edgy because the demons, it's about demons. It's in the title, right? There's nothing wrong with making movies and telling stories about demons because, my belief system says that they're real. They are out there and, we don't see them and they're not as goofy as the ones in this movie. They are a part of life. And so why not have a group of girls that are fighting actual enemies that, whether we know it or not, we're fighting ourselves. And this whole power of song thing, changing the world with your voice. I mean, as a Christian, we gather weekly to sing songs at church. Most of the time, I don't really like them.
Flowing from your heart, filling every part
But we bring our voices together to not so much save the world, but we're worshiping and praising something that we all agree on. Maybe outside of church, we disagree on politics or certain worldviews, but it's a place where we can gather together. And isn't a concert like, let's say, the people that attend the Hendrix concerts?
You uncultured swine!
Isn't that the same thing where people from all walks of life, demographics, stages, they all come together to join voices and celebrate the commonality?
He's got the whole world in his hand. Everybody now! He's got the whole world in his hand. Go, Father!
I'm not trying to say that this is a Christian movie. I understand fully and I respect that a lot of this is taken from Korean folklore. I think it's so cool that we can start learning about other cultures through movies like this. You know, that the tiger that my daughter is obsessed with, that apparently is a big Korean thing. And that's just something that art and movies and books can do, is that's how they bring the world together, that we can start understanding each other's cultures, our ideas, our points of view. And you don't have to believe everything. You can also find a lot of commonality between cultures and belief systems. So what did you think of K-Pop Demon Hunters? Did you and your kids watch it? Did you watch it by yourself? Did your kids watch it by themselves? What do they think about it? Let me know down below. Let's get into the game. I'm going to read 3 reviews from critics of 3 separate movies. All you have to do is write your guesses down below, and I will reveal the answers in the next video. The first review says, this movie may not be an ace in the hole, but it beats par by a long shot. The next one says, one of the few non-Disney animated films to make its stamp in the 1970s. Delightful. And then the last one says, snappy pacing and canny writing make this more than just a B picture. If you think you know what they are, write your answers down below, have a discussion with others. I will give you those answers in the next video. Until then, if you want better movies, stop paying to see bad ones. Now hold on. Surf's Up is actually really good. My kids grew up on Arthur Christmas, so I don't hate that one. All right, so I was wrong. They're not all bad.